Alright, this video is going to be about how to set up your XR18 with a wireless router with a wired connection to a laptop, as well as having multiple devices connected wirelessly. Alright, so let's get into the setup and then we will look into the network connections. Alright, so let's dive right in. First, I've got a power strip here. And that's powering my phone charger at the moment to take care of the video. So let's go ahead and get the mixer out. Alright, so here's the mixer. This is my Behringer XR18. Give a quick look at that, but I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you probably already know what this is. Alright, so let's go ahead, get this out, plug it in, and we'll connect the rest of the components. Alright, so the mixer is plugged up, got power to it. Next step is the wireless router. I've got a Wise Tiger router here. It's the AC 1200M wireless router. It's dual band. And so let's get this hooked up. Alright, so I've got my wireless router plugged in and connected to the XR18. This is a Cat7 shielded twisted pair. 10 feet. I want pretty much the best cable I can get feeding the wireless router, so there's not much signal loss. I don't have to deal with that. And that's coming out of the Ethernet port of the XR18 into the LAN port of the Wise Tiger wireless router. Now, for the router, some people like to point their antennas at the direction that they're going to be working in. That is a mistake. Keep the antennas in the same direction that your receivers are going to be in. These are RF transmitters, and your receivers, like phones, computers, whatnot, needs to be in the same polarization. These are not directional. If they were directional, then you would point them in the direction that you're working, but keep them pointed straight up and down. Unless you're mounting it on a wall, then they would be parallel to the wall, still straight up and down. Little piece on that. Alright, so let's get the computer hardwired in now. Alright, so just got the router set up. Next is the laptop here. That's the current date and time for my area. I've also got two tablets I'm going to be connecting to the wireless router to control wirelessly. Now, to connect to my laptop, I need a Thunderbolt to Ethernet connector to plug into the side of the computer. Alright, so let's get the Ethernet cables plugged up and we'll go from there. Normally I wouldn't use this Ethernet cable. I would use a 100-foot Cat6 cable coming out of the back of the LAN port on the Wise Tiger router to my offstage wired control station. Okay, so the apps I'm going to be using for the Samsung tablet here is the Mixing Station XR. For the iPad, because the normal app is discontinued, I've got to use the Mixing Station here, and to connect you have to pay for it. But anyways, not a big deal, couple dollars. I'm using the XR. And that's the one right there, so I'm going to connect. Alright, so let's connect the computer to the XR18 and look at the network settings. Transfer from the mixer to the computer. And to look at the network settings, click the setup button up here, and then in particular go to LAN, and then select the DHCP server, for my purposes at least, because when this is set to DHCP, the router doesn't recognize it as needing an IP address, so it doesn't send it. So I just turned the DHCP off in the router, as well as the 2.4 gigahertz, and only use the 5 gigahertz side of it, so it's not trying to switch between. And I just use the XR18 as the DHCP server, so it sends the IP address to everything needing one or requesting one, like the two tablets and the computer. That way everything is set up nicely. Also, if you're going to connect directly from the XR18 to the computer, you need to use the XR18 as the DHCP server. Normally, a Wi-Fi router serves as the server, but in my particular case, it did not work that way, so I just used that option, and it makes it a lot easier. Alright, so let's clear out of that and see if everything has connected like it should. So I can drag the fader one up, and it's moving on the first tablet and on the second tablet. So everything is synced up, and the app I'm using on the computer is the XR18. Now this is discontinued and not in the App Store anymore, so I downloaded it from Behringer. Okay, so a bit of additional information. When you first connect to the app, you will need to enter, well, let me first disconnect, and that will be up here in the settings. Disconnect, yes. So when you first go into connect using these apps, it's going to ask you for a console IP address. Now for the Behringer XR18, that's going to be 192.168.1.1 always. In the current setup that I have, you can change it, I believe, but I don't recommend that. So you just type it in, and then your next step would be to click connect. There you go. And it should be synced across the board. Yep. Okay, so that's connecting to the app. Initially, when you connect to the computer, you want to have your Wi-Fi on. So turn your Wi-Fi on, and then on the XR18, switch to the Wi-Fi access point mode, so all the way to the right, and then connect directly to the XR18's Wi-Fi. I don't recommend this during a show because an external Wi-Fi router is always going to be better than the internal. And then once you've directly connected to the XR18 using your XR18, these apps can't control those certain network settings. Then you go into and you can change all of the different settings. This is your connection menu, and then over here is your LAN menu, and change it to DHCP server, and then you can connect using a wired connection into the Ethernet port off of the mixer. So that's how you can get connected using wireless and a wired connection both at the same time.